The term public cloud is meant that all services are provided over the internet on a pay-per-use model to everyone or anyone. Public cloud is better for smaller companies without a proper IT department. Hybrid cloud has added accessibility for internal as well as external users. Hello students, welcome to the next session in cloud computing and big data analytics. I'm Dr. Soumyashri from Department of Computer Science, Vidhyaashram College. In the last session, we discussed I completed the session till how does the dynamic infrastructure in cloud computing is going to affect the various management skills in cloud computing, like it may be in the case of an asset, or it may be in the case of a data, or any other kind of energy efficiency like this. How does the dynamic infrastructure nature of the cloud computing helps you to have a better service for a service provider? How does it helps the service provider to give a better service for the client? Okay. After getting into all those things, the next thing that we need to we know about the types of clouds, how does they are going to use it. From the client perspective, clouds can be categorized as either public cloud or private cloud, or you can have community cloud and the hybrid cloud. What you need to know is community cloud is used between the different branches of organization, but when compared to private, public as well as hybrid cloud, the community usage of community cloud is a little bit lesser, because security, one is security purpose, and data may get distributed and as well as may get repeated several times if you go for a selection of community cloud. Because of this disadvantage of community cloud, most of the clients or most of the organizations or individuals will usually opt for either a private cloud or public cloud or a hybrid cloud. How does they differ from each other? We know about it in general. Okay, in the previous sessions, I told you about that, is it not? Public cloud is where anyone can access the data over the internet, whereas private cloud is limited to a single organization where only the employees of that organization or any individual who has taken the private cloud can access to that data, where you can have more security when compared to the public cloud. Combining both the advantages of both the public cloud as well as the private cloud, what we are getting is the hybrid cloud. In today's session, let us have a brief look at what are the advantages of adopting for a public cloud, along with advantages for going for a private cloud and disadvantages. Along with that, what are the advantages and disadvantages of opting for a hybrid cloud, and how this security can be implemented in case of these clouds is the topic of discussion in today's session. Okay. Now, let us have a look at some of the things that help any organization or an entrepreneur to decide whether it is good to opt for a public cloud or a private cloud or a hybrid cloud. Okay. The choice is between the public, private and the hybrid. Okay. As the usage of cloud has become more and more, there is also a discussion about which is the better cloud service we can adopt for our organization, which can fulfill the policies and standards or principles of the organization. Not only security, it has to fulfill the principles of the organization. So, the cloud in today's world is occupying every field of the business. In any field, you can use the cloud. How you can use the cloud? We have already said, already completed, isn't it? Starting from healthcare to content streaming, like a video streaming. The question arises is, which cloud is better? If you are given a chance of saying which cloud you are going to select, either public or private, or are you going for hybrid? Today is the discussion about this. So, we have the discussion of all these three types of cloud. The decision of whether to go for public, private or hybrid solution can be very much difficult because each of the cloud facility has its own advantages as well as disadvantages. You cannot, at a stretch, you cannot say that public is better or private is better, or don't go for both the things. You opt for public cloud. At one stretch, you cannot come to this conclusion. Then how do you come to the conclusion is based on what is your business is doing, what are the applications that you are developing or expecting, what are the services you are expecting from a cloud vendor. All those questions are to be answered before deciding whether you are going for a public cloud or private cloud or hybrid cloud. Okay, today let's have a brief answer for these discussions. Now, we shall take up the discussion of which is the better one, what are the advantages of having a public cloud or a private cloud or a hybrid cloud. Okay, let's first have a look at the public cloud. Okay, how does the public cloud is defined, or how does the public cloud differentiates is, the term public cloud is meant that all services are provided over the internet on a pay-per-use model to everyone or anyone. Anyone or everyone can get all the services over the internet. There will be no restriction that you can use this service, other one cannot use this service. All the clients can use all the types of the service available with that particular vendor. Okay. This public cloud offers the more number of efficiency as resources can be shared throughout a network. In any path, you can get the service. You can get the service or a software or a platform or a infrastructure. We know about the services provided from the vendor perspective like SaaS, PaaS and IaaS. Is it not? All these services can be provided by the vendor on the internet to all the connected clients. Okay. In public cloud, data are created and submitted by the users. Anyone can store the data, create and store the data on the servers provided by the cloud vendor or the service provider or any third party provider. A vendor can act as an intermediate level where a third party may be given, like in database or web application, like a cloud vendor can get the service of MySQL or database service from a third party vendor, and he can provide that service to you. But in public cloud, everything will be available to everyone over the internet. Okay. What are the advantages of using these public clouds? How you can expect advantages in this is, one thing is, it increases the network efficiency, because anyone can access through the network, is it not? It increases the network efficiency and more resources, reduced complexity. As anyone can get access to a resource accessing complexity will be reduced in case of public cloud. Okay? And it can have lead times. It can allocate the resources based on the demand by the client, based on, again, pay-per-use model. Okay? Since the architecture and the software provided will be fixed, you can have reduced complexity in the service. Along with that, the public cloud also provides ready-to-go applications. That means there is no security, no need of hiding anything. Because of that, all the applications will be ready to go. You can use it at any time. Can conform to the demands of the business. You don't, if the application or the project does not involve any critical data, you can easily opt for a public cloud, because the security measures will be very much less. In case of public cloud, you can easily get access to all the available applications with a minimum of pay-per-use model. You can access to any of the data in the public cloud. What are the disadvantages of using this public cloud? The main purposes or main disadvantages: having less security. Apart from that, fewer options for customization and is less secure. Since it is available to everyone, you cannot have a customized service for you. If you are an allied client and you say that I need this particular service in this application, in a public cloud, it is rarely that you will get that service given by the vendor, because all will be using the same application. So, it cannot be treated as a important client and the service will be provided to you. You cannot have the customized service for you even if you want. Okay. Apart from that, security is also less in public cloud. Apart from that, you have a fixed architecture. If it is software provider is JDK 3.1.1, this 3.1.1 is distributed to all the thousands or lakhs of clients who are connected to the cloud service. Same architecture, same design is provided to all the clients. So, this fixed architecture cannot grow with the needs of the business. If you have opted for a public cloud, you cannot expect that if your next project is expecting the JDK version of 4.3, you cannot expect the service vendor to provide you with this version, because the architecture is fixed. You cannot have varied architecture for different clients. All the clients are getting same version. If you want another copy, or if you want another version, or any changes in the architecture of the present service, it will not be possible with the public cloud. You cannot expect such kind of services by the vendor if you are going for a public cloud. Okay. Why do you need a public cloud then? You would have get on to that. you would have discarded that option of having public cloud. Is public cloud the best option? When can you opt for a public cloud? Is business that are best suited for using the public cloud are ones that need to bring a product or service to market quickly. If it has less time, the business has very less time to produce a product, it cannot worry about the version or it cannot worry about the extra services that are given by a cloud. So, if it is non-critical data and you need the product or the project to be completed within less time, what is the suggestion is? It is better to have public cloud because it is easier to access these fixed architecture given by the public cloud vendor. Okay, without the internal infrastructure in public cloud, you cannot get the internal layers of the applications. You are only given the front end of the application. Back end and supporting files will not be provided to you. Although you are not provided any supporting files, all will be available for your application development. In such a case where you have very less time to develop a product or an application, you can definitely go for a public cloud where all the supporting files will be available in the back end which are not displayed to you. Okay? If you are not in a position to worry about the internal architecture, you just want a service by a particular application, definitely you can go for a public cloud. Okay? It will not provide any support for you to create your own public cloud. Alright. Apart from this, another point you can consider where public cloud is more preferable is it is a short-term solution. Okay? For what is to compensate for not having the detailed infrastructure. If you are not in a position to go for a detailed infrastructure with all the supporting files, with all the backends, in such a case also, you can go for a public cloud. You will not be in a position to go for a infrastructure and the supporting files, supporting systems. So, it will all be provided by the public but not given to you. It supports only the service that is given to you. Okay. It does provide smaller companies. What does the suggestion says is public cloud is better for smaller companies without a proper IT departments. If your company is not capable of having an information technology department for handling all these technological details, once again you can go for the public cloud. Okay. So, this is the opportunity to match the deployment speed of larger companies. You know, you don't have much time to invest on all these things. You are in lack of time as well as money. But you are competing for the larger companies, same services. You are competing with the large companies, but you don't have that much money as that of a large company, or you don't have even that much time to wait and purchase all those infrastructures. In such a case also, public cloud is the best option where you can directly get the service by the cloud and you can fulfill your task of completing a project or the application. Okay. Contrary to that, we have the private cloud. What does the private cloud will do? Is there anything private cloud is offering? We know about the basic thing of private cloud, is it not? So, private clouds are the cloud infrastructure or the cloud service that are deployed for a single organization. It is for a particular organization. These private clouds are managed internally within the organization or externally from outside the organization. You can manage it. But all systems and infrastructure are for the use of same organization. You cannot provide this service outside the organization. If I am a cloud vendor, cloud service provider, and a client opts for a private cloud service, I have to give all the services only to a particular organization. It may be PaaS, SaaS or IaaS. All should be given or dedicated to only one single organization. Okay. When you consider a private cloud, the business need of going for a private cloud is to make the scope of needed investment, which creates a private cloud. It will be like a private cloud where you can have higher security for your data and you can have the updated and upgraded versions of all the services. Okay, all the possible services will be upgraded as well as updated time to time. Okay, you can have your own private cloud where you can store all the data and manipulate all the services given by a vendor dedicated to only one organization. Okay, but the thing is, when compared to public cloud, private cloud is more expensive. Okay, compared to one in the public cloud. It is general in entire world, is it not? If it is publicly available, it will be cheaper. It will be economical. If it is private for a particular person, it will be costlier. If it is flight for everyone, it will be public and the amount will be little bit less. May not be as a bus fare or a train fare, but it will be very much less when compared to having a private jet. Okay, what is the expenditure incurred in a private jet will always be more when compared to the expenditure that will be incurred on a public aeroplane, is it not? Public plane. In the same way, whatever is public is available in a cheaper service or economical service, whereas private will sometimes be very expensive, not that just expensive, it may become very expensive. Okay. Even though it is expensive, it has certain advantages. What are the advantages for opting a private cloud is? It has extensive security options. You can have more security to your data along with extra capabilities which are not having a fixed infrastructure, which are more than a public cloud. The services provided by a private cloud are exclusive for an organization and it can have varied capabilities for your service. You can have varied services from a vendor. Along with that, private cloud can get available to the internal network of the organization and increases the accessibility for internal users. Internal users can have more accessibility to the data within the organization. Apart from this, it can have the facility of expansion to the client up to a maximum level. Okay. The users of public cloud has only limited number of services, whereas in private cloud you can have the expanded service along with the expansion of your business. As your business grows, the services provided by the vendor can also grow. If you are getting new projects and is requiring a newer versions of the application or hardware or any platform, it will be readily available in the private cloud, which is not possible in the public cloud. Okay. Even though we have advantages, it has disadvantages also. What are the disadvantages of the private cloud? What you can expect is it needs to have significant level of engagement from both management as well as IT departments. You cannot leave the entire responsibility only to the IT departments or only to the management. They have to be cooperated to have more detailed service from the service vendor. Okay. Apart from that, investment needs is more in case of private cloud to build and to maintain it. Not only to build, to maintain it and to upgrade it or update it to all the tasks. For all these tasks, you need a huge investment. For this purpose, most of the smaller companies or startup companies will not opt for or will not find suitable with the private cloud. Even though the services are better than a public cloud, the smaller companies and startups cannot offer this much investment only on the cloud service. Okay. Apart from that, it does not deliver the short-term solutions. It won't give you the short-term solutions because a public cloud gives only the application and supporting files will be residing in the cloud itself. It can make the application go in a faster way where the short-term solutions or short-term projects and works can be completed better than a private cloud in a public cloud. But as all the supporting files and all the supporting infrastructure are needed in a private cloud only for a single organization, you cannot expect to deliver a short-term solutions in lesser time. Okay, it needs private cloud needs larger time gap to give a long-term solution. If you are going for a long-term solution or if you have a project that runs over years, you can definitely go for private cloud because private cloud provides you with the timely updates and upgradations of all the applications and the platform, which is not available in the public cloud. But the disadvantage is short-term applications or solutions lag because of the facility of giving all the infrastructure to the client. Okay. Then who can go for private cloud is businesses that are best suited for private cloud are the regularity guidelines, who are compelled to the regularity guidelines or have highly volatile applications needed within the cloud. It has volatile applications and are handling the critical data. In such a case, it is better to go for a private cloud than a public cloud. Okay. Along with this business require to install their own servers. Along with private cloud, they have to have their own servers and storage hardware that allows the modification in workloads. if you are having varying workloads in larger companies, it is better to have the private cloud because it gives you the virtualization product where you can have your own servers. It feels like you have your own server as well as storage capacity from the cloud where you can have the varying workloads managed with the private cloud. Even though it incurs huge investment for a public cloud, if the business deals with regulated data or industry rules, if the industry or if the company or organization has to have a regulated private content or confidential content, or it must have or it must follow the industry level rules, then it has to have the private cloud rather than a public cloud. Next comes is the combination of both the private and the public, that is hybrid cloud. The term the hybrid cloud refers to use of both the public as well as the private cloud. It needs both the facilities of public as well as private cloud by the companies who has to have the strength or advantages of both the public as well as the private cloud. Like, for example, if a company goes for an application on a private cloud, it is opting for a private cloud, but it needs dynamic resources. It is not expecting the resources to be loaded to the local server and is going to access that. It is in need of the varying resources or dynamic resources which are available only with the public cloud. You cannot have dynamic resources in a private cloud, but which is available in the public cloud. It has opted for the private but needs the resources which are available only with the public cloud. It is better to have a facility of hybrid cloud because the added resources will be getting from the public. For protection of the data and the applications, it is opting for the private cloud, whereas for accessing the updated resource and the varied applications, it can go for a public cloud. In this way, it can opt for, the organization can opt for the advantages of both the private cloud as well as the public cloud. Okay. What are the advantages of having this hybrid cloud is, it has the best of both the public as well as the private cloud. Okay. It can available all the needed resources either from the private cloud or from the public cloud. He can go for any of the cloud based on what kind of resources the organization is in need. Okay. Apart from that, hybrid cloud has added accessibility for internal as well as external users, because if some data are to be available for the users outside the organization and some data are critical which are accessible, which needs accessibility only to the users of the or in-house users of the organization. In such a case, the critical data will be available in the private cloud only to the in-house users, whereas the non-critical data which will be stored in the public cloud and are available to all the connected users over the network. Okay. Apart from that, security parameters are higher than the public cloud but are obviously less than the private cloud. You can have more security measures than a public cloud because it includes the features of private cloud also. It can provide you more security than public cloud, but is lesser than that of provided for a private cloud. Alright. Now, let's have a look at where does the hybrid cloud lags. Okay. One of the disadvantage or drawback of having the hybrid cloud is inherent efficiency of monitoring several security platforms. That means you need to have security measures different for public cloud as well as private cloud. You cannot have same measures, you cannot implement same methods or models for the security of data in both public as well as private. So, there will be a inefficiency in implementing a proper security model because it includes both the public and the private facility. Okay. Apart from that, customization of rules, policies to govern the security who insist you to have a security system and the elements of infrastructure, the resources that are needed for a cloud service may not link between the public and the private cloud. Policies and standards of public cloud, policies, principles, standards, rules, all these will be different for public cloud when compared to the private cloud. So, synchronization between these terms in case of public as well as private cloud will be very much difficult because it includes the features of both the public and the private. It will be very much difficult to decide how much security must be given to data if it is in private or if it is in public. Okay. Based on these confusions, there will be an ambiguity for implementing a particular security model for which is common for both the public as well as the private cloud. Okay. There will be a lack of synchronization in customizing the rules and the policies for both the clouds. You need to have separate policies, rules and standards that will be followed for public as well as private cloud. Okay. It also has a security risk because with the help of public cloud, the outsider can get access to a private cloud. Even though you have a separate security model for private, there are chances of breaching to the private cloud by an outsider using the policies and rules of the public cloud. Okay. Now, this is one of the disadvantage of having a hybrid cloud. Then, which is the best option or what are the options when a business can go for a hybrid cloud is those with sites that have unreliable fluctuation in traffic, which has fluctuation in workload, accessibility of the clouds or for the clouds. That kind of business can go for a hybrid cloud. Okay. And along with that, with e-commerce sites, if you are having e-commerce sites, you need to have the option of both the public as well as the private. These fluctuations will vary between different times of day and seasons. Okay, is it not? If you take the example of an e-commerce site, the workload on that particular site will vary from day to day. If you have an offer, if you have festivals, the offers will be more, then the number of users accessing that particular e-commerce site will be more. Workload will be high in such a time. But And when you have normal days, there will be some normal accessibility from the clients to your e-commerce site. In certain situations where conditions are worst, your e-commerce site may feel very less workload. Okay, so there will be fluctuations in the accessibility by the clients to a particular site. Along with that, there will be some critical data like customer informations, their orders, their returns, all these kinds of data will be critical, which needs to be stored in a private cloud. You cannot expect anyone from outside getting access to the details of your clients. Whereas services like product viewing, product subscription, features, its reviews, feedback forms, and all those things must be available to the public. Anyone must be able to look for a product, rate it, or write a review. All these things are non-critical, or maybe critical, but it must be available for public. Anyone, it must be the feature that anyone can access a review of a product. That means it must be in public cloud, is it not? So it has to be, some data needs to be in a private, whereas some data needs to be in public. Okay, so this kind of necessity makes the usability of hybrid cloud more appropriate than that of public cloud and the private cloud. All right. The hybrid cloud has the same security of the private cloud. It has the model of the security of a private cloud, whereas it has added resources as that of public cloud. Okay. The security, even though it has the model of private cloud, it can offer the facilities needed by a particular client of the application. Okay. It is best for the small companies as well as for the larger kind of companies. Okay. Along with that, the need of the business and the user can define the answer. Who is going to answer which is better? Is it hybrid or private or public? Who is going to answer is the type of business you are carrying out along with type of clients who are accessing your business or who are benefiting your business. They are the ones who are going to answer your necessity of which type of cloud you need to go for an adoption or you have to adopt. Okay. For small organizations, the public cloud is the preferable one, whereas for larger and more content sensitive companies who have more critical data, the private cloud is the necessity of that organization. Like it needs to have time investment and money investment, you can go for the hybrid cloud. Okay. When compared to all the three, hybrid cloud is having more advantages than private cloud as well as the public cloud. Okay. Based on the needs of the business, a company can better evaluate the necessity of which type of cloud is better for them. Who is going to decide is the business person or the entrepreneur who decides what kind of cloud he is in need of. Okay. What kind of cloud benefits what type of organization or which cloud is the answer for different kinds of organizations. Okay. So you can have the better option for these organization. Now, let us have a look at the security in a public cloud, where when you go for a public cloud, the general saying is that the security will be very much less in case of public cloud, is it not? The public cloud vendor or the provider will go for a third party security. They are not going to provide the security by themselves. Instead of that, they usually go for a third party provider who delivers a set of services to secure the data of the clients over the internet. How much security they can provide in a public cloud is, they can range from processing power to storage capacity. If you are providing a service, SaaS, then you can go for one security model, or if you are providing an infrastructure or IaaS, you can go for different model for the security of the storage component. Okay. Apart from that, it can have basic security model and is improvising the security measures taken for servicing or protecting the data in a public cloud than the previous years or previous time. Okay. A public cloud, you cannot say that it doesn't have a security. It has security, but will be lesser than that of private cloud. Okay. Over the years, public cloud is improvising the security measures of all the services provided by them. Okay. They have adopted and improved their security measures. They have adopted and they are adopting more and improved security measures, which enables to manage the attacks that can happen over a public cloud. Okay. Even though they are providing certain measures, there are limitations to the level of security available. How much security can be provided by a public cloud? Okay. For example, companies that handle the sensitive data or the critical data will not be able to get all the services of the public cloud if they are expecting more security for their data, because the public cloud providers cannot guarantee you that you can have 100% security to your data all the time. So, companies will not be given assurance that their critical data will be protected all the time at any cost in any situation. So, it will be a lack of security in case of public cloud. Of course, anyone cannot provide 100% security to any data, but public cloud is having very much less security compared to other kinds of cloud. Okay. What kind of applications can use the security of or compromise with the security of a public cloud are those that feature software as a service. If you are having application software as a service or SaaS, in such a case, they are coupled with the vendor aided security. They are not expecting much security because they know that they are using the SaaS and is having less security. So, those that require additional capacity at a fixed rate of network, multitudes of people will be accessing applications as well. We have increasing workload, decreasing workload, varying workload on an application. You need to have lesser security. If you have higher level of security, if you have firewalls, if you have anti-attacking softwares, it will not be able, the client will not be able to access much of the data because of stringent security measures. Okay. In such a case also, public cloud will not be able to provide higher security to the clients, because client himself will not need to have higher security, because if higher level of security is implemented in the public cloud, most of the clients will not be able to access the data. Because of that also, public cloud provides lesser security. Okay. Where private clouds are concerned, when you come to the point of security in private cloud, ownership is with a single organization or a company which acts as the extension of traditional data center or traditional server in an organization. We can expect same security as that of implemented in a local server. Okay. The private cloud offers you a non-shared resource that gives you better processing speed and better storage capacity in case of EAS and the PAS. Okay. It provides you better service than the public cloud, because the private cloud is providing non-shared resource. It is providing non-shared resource and non-shared storage capacity for different tasks or for different kinds of jobs in the organization. The private cloud is providing more service. It is having dedicated services, dedicated platforms, dedicated infrastructure for a particular organization, where you can implement same security measures as that of a local application or the server. Okay. Even though we have more security in case of private cloud, the security ownership model that a private cloud can be upgraded. You can even upgrade the security measures taken in a private cloud. Okay. Along with that, clients are assured by time to time that their data is not only in compliance with the security rules, but also inaccessible to the unauthorized persons or to the intruders. Time to time, the security model in private cloud must ensure the client that their data is secure and is not available to the intruders or to the attackers. So, thus review must be carried out by the measures or the security models that are implemented in a private cloud. Okay. In private cloud, an organization will be a sole user. There will not be any other user of the cloud. The organization will be the solo user. You can customize the private cloud to meet your needs. Along with the security, you can customize the requirement or customize the cloud service according to your need, where you need authentication along with performance. You need to have authentication of the data. Both the things need to be met by the security model. It has to ensure that if a security model is implemented in a private cloud, it must not reduce the performance of the service. Performance must be high and security must also be high in case of a private cloud, because the vendor is providing his whole service to a sole user, to an individual user or a single organization. Okay. The application that benefit from this kind of security is ensuring that it is having proper data privacy regulations imposed on all the accessed data. Okay. Along with that, the application which need stringent security measures like firewall for the sensitive assets or critical data. As I said, data is also a kind of asset. What kind of user or the organization needs high level of security is, mandated security is, those who need regulated data, private data, along with stringent security measures to protect their data. Okay. So, security measures and the models that are taken in private cloud will be very much different than that of taken in a public cloud. There will be limitations on what kind of model can be implemented in a public cloud, but there will be no restriction to implement any kind of model in private cloud. What does the organization or the user needs is higher protection to their data, maintaining the performance. Okay. So, these are the some of the general things that the security can be taken, how a security can be taken in a public as well as the private cloud. In the next session, we are going to learn what are the specific security measures taken in both the type of private and public cloud, along with cloud infrastructure acting as a self-service to the vendor. Okay, how does it acts as a self-service? All right. Thank you.